her hand. Why do robins build so high? She wants to understand. Paper kites in the yard, beans in folded cups. Every little answer starts with what if and huh? She follows the clues through the tulips and the rain. One question leads to three, and the world says her name. In Linda's Curiosity Corner, we ask it again and again. Linda's Curiosity Corner, where every question can spin. Fresh from spring into summer, stories bloom in the sun. Linda's Curiosity Corner. Come on, come on. Grandma folds the quilt and tells the peach tree tale. How the farmers read the sky by the color in the hail. Fireflies over grass, drums at the block party. Old songs passed around like a plate of sweet cornbread. She follows the clues through the tulips and the rain. One question leads to three, and the world says her name. In Linda's Curiosity Corner, we ask it again and again. Linda's Curiosity Corner, where every question can spin. Fresh from spring into summer, stories bloom in the sun. Linda's Curiosity Corner. Come on, come on. When the thunder rolls in, she doesn't hide inside. She writes it all down, then she runs outside. A puddle, a songbird, a story in the mud. Linda laughs and says, look where we found love. In Linda's Curiosity Corner, we ask it again and again. Linda's Curiosity Corner.
That's fun. That's cute. So, welcome everyone. This is Linda, and hopefully you're curious because we have all kinds of fun trivia, facts, and just some knowledge for everybody. And as Mary luckily pointed out to me, tomorrow, or Monday, I should say, I guess, is Flag Day in the United States. And it's one of those crazy days that, sometimes, as it says here, that sneaks up on us, and it snuck up on me. Um, we celebrate so many things, and this is a good one to celebrate because of what our flag really stands for. So it's celebrated every year on June 14th, and it marks a day in 1777 when the Second Continental Congress officially adopted the Stars and Stripes as the national flag. So, excuse me. But how did Flag Day become a thing? And it was adopted in, well, it wasn't an official nationwide celebration for over a century, even though in 1777 they decided what the flag's going to look like. But in 1885, um, a school teacher had a small 10-inch 38 star flag in his desk, and he had the students make an essay about what the flag means to them. And then he spent the rest of his life crisscrossing the country trying to get the Flag Day as a national holiday. And in 1916, President Woodrow Wilson issued a proclamation establishing June 14th as Flag Day. But it wasn't until 1949 that Harry Truman signed the act of Congress making it an official holiday. National Day of Observance, we should say. Um, and, we're so used to the 50-star flag now, even though those men on the street questions about how many stars are on the flag, how many people just don't know there's 50 US states and there's 50 stars. Um, when Alaska and Hawaii were nearing statehoods in the late 50s, more than 1,500 people sent design ideas in because remember the first one had the stars in a circle, and then just the layout was different from like the 38 star flag to the 50. And it was a high school student, Bob Heft, a 17-year-old from Ohio, who created it as a school project. Now, this is funny because the teacher originally gave him a B- for the effort, but after his design was officially chosen, the teacher gave him an A. So that's how you have to get an A in some classes, huh? You have to have it nationally recognized. Now, the colors of the flag, of course, have specific meanings. The um, the white signifies purity and innocence. The red represents hardness and valor, and the blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. So there's a good. Um, Now, the first flag resolution in 1777 didn't give any official meanings um, to the colors, but over time people have done that. Betsy Ross might not have made the original flag. The story of Betsy Ross sewing the first flag is kind of folklore, but there's no actual um, evidence to prove it. And that story about Betsy Ross didn't surface until 1870, like 100 years later, when her grandson presented the claim to the Historical Society of Pennsylvania. Um, Most historians believe that Francis Hopkinson, a signer of the Declaration of Independence, actually designed it. Um, so, so they are history books. Um, and there are six American flags on the moon. During the Apollo missions, NASA astronauts planted a total of six flags on the lunar surface. Because there's no atmosphere or wind on the moon, flags were designed in a horizontal telescoping rod along the top to keep them extended. So if you see on MTV, remember MTV showed the flag on the moon? Um, it really is there. So,
But when they did Artemis and they did the lunar circle of the moon, they still got five of the flags still standing on the moon. They're faded and they're, need to come down and put new ones up by, flag etiquette, but they're still there.
well, the reason there's only five standing is the first one, planted by Neil Armstrong during Apollo 11, is knocked over by engine exhaust when the lunar module blasted off. So, so I keep checking, make sure that our American flag is still flying out front, and that it doesn't get ripped off in the wind. We've been having some quite um, windstorms here. Now
Which is
there's a,
how I remembered it was Flag Day because I have to go buy a new flag today because
oh,
ours got
okay.
torn.
We have actually I have a new flag that I was, believe it or not, with this messy craft room of mine, I was picking things up and I came across a whole flag kit. Um, and it's a very lightweight one. It's a nice weight, but I have one for my dad's VFW post. It's a very heavy one. Um, it's all cotton, and it's a beautiful flag. Um, but it's right now it's all folded. I didn't want to unfold the trifold of the of that flag um from when he was the VFW commander. Excuse me, here in Buffalo. Um, Now there's some flag code things that you shouldn't do. Um, it just kind of strict rules of um, how to display the flag. The flag should never be used as wearing apparel, bedding, or drapery. Yes, that means those July 4th flag napkins and swimsuits technically go against the official code. Well, my my plates kind of do look like American flag, but square. So maybe that you can get around it for that. Um, and let's see. It should never touch anything beneath it, the ground, the floor, or whatever. No, ours is hanging nicely off our front porch. It's supposed to be illuminated if flown at night. Oops, I haven't really done that because I have not taken it in every night. The evolution of the US flag is essentially a visual map of America's growth. Because the 1777 flag didn't specifically specify how the stars had to be arranged. Early flag makers got incredibly creative, arranging them in circles, grids, and even the shape of one giant star. Um, so, to prevent the flag from getting completely unmanageable, Congress passed the Flag Act of 1818, which set a permanent rule. The stripes should stay at 13 to honor the original 13 colonies, and a new star would be added for every state on the 4th of July, following its admission. Oh, so that's how it's evolved over 2 centuries of expansion. So I thought that was really neat, And then the flag, the um, during over the years, how the flag has back in the original 1777, the early designs used a simple grid. The Betsy Ross flag is 13 stars in a continuous circle so that no colony would hold position of precedence over the others. Um, and then in 1795, we had 15 stars. Vermont and Kentucky joined. Um, and then let's see, in 1818, 20 stars and back to 13 states, 13 stripes. Um, let's see, in 1837, we up to 26 stars, five more states, Tennessee, Ohio, Louisiana, Indiana, and Mississippi were added. Um, and 1837, 26 stars. Um, the admission of Michigan, some flag makers leaned into popular Great Star design, where 26 individual small stars were arranged to form the silhouette of a one massive 5 point star. I don't really think I've ever seen that one. That's interesting. And then the Civil War flag in 1861, Kansas entered the Union right as the Civil War began, and President Abraham Lincoln refused to remove any stars representing the southern states that had seceded, insisting the Union remain totally legally whole. And that flag flew the majority of the conflict. That's interesting to know. Um, 48 stars in 1912. Um, and then New Mexico and Arizona were admitted. The flag entered its longest running design up to that point for 47 years, spanning both world wars and the Great Depression. The 48 star flag in a clean 6 by 8 grid was the unchanged face of the country. And then in 1960, the 50 stars, because Alaska in 1959 and Hawaii joined in 1960. And so now what we see as the American flag um, is the official has been official design for over 65 years. So that's really neat. So um, So, so what happens if a 51st state is added? Okay, so that's interesting. The U.S. Army Institute of Heraldry, that's hard to say, already has official design on standby for a 51 star flag. The most likely design features 6 rows of stars, alternating rows of 9 and rows of 8 to maintain a balanced, symmetrical grid without changing the overall look too drastically. So, oh, look at that. There it is. The Great Star configuration. I have never seen that. Very
It's hard
interesting.
to find.
I've never seen that before, but that is really cool. So it's not just the stars; it has the border of the stars also. Interesting, but that's wonderful. And so, you know, Flag Day, you know, the flag just represents so much of the country, and so that's why it's so important to so many of us, that we fly the flag. You know, I was watching something on YouTube and how the Europeans think, oh, that's crazy. Americans fly flags everywhere and no other country does. Well, that's really not true because Canada has their flag everywhere too. Um, but the United States, we're proud of our flag, of what it represents. 50 different states coming together as one union. I mean, that is really, when you think about it, um, each state has its own government, yet we're all together as under one flag. And so that's really important. Aha. There's the flag at the on 9/11 at the World Trade Centers. So saving the flag. Pictures of Iwo Jima in World War II. Just defending the flag. Um, the whole Star Spangled Banner, our national anthem, talking about just preserving the flag, is preserving the Union. And isn't that neat what Lincoln said? Instead of cutting out, he said, "No, we're staying together, as legally as one nation." And then, of course, at the end of the war, we did stay together as one nation. When you realize we could have easily have separated into two complete separate countries, two or three, and yet we didn't. So, our history really proves that in times, of stress and things, what did Lincoln say? United we stand, divided we fall. And, you know, so it's really, I'm I'm glad, Mary, that you reminded me that it is Flag Day on Monday. So, and right now with the 250th um, celebration of the country, um, there are flags flying everywhere. We're having a big July 5th party, a July 4th party, but we're celebrating on Sunday the 5th. So we're celebrating the 5th of July. But really, we're celebrating the 4th of July because that marks the United States Independence Day. So, and isn't it funny too that one of our closest allies is Great Britain, who we fought, 250 years to free ourselves from them. So, you know, even enemies can become friends again. So, keep that in mind if you have any strife going on in your family. If nations can do it, brothers and sisters can do it too. Um, so that's. Did you have anything flag wise to add, Mary?
I always, when you look back through everything bad that ever happens from the Civil War forward,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing we always do is we raise the flag,
Yeah. Yes.
and
Yeah.
how instantly things change. Your demeanor, your thought to want to give up changes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like our rally or our battle cry, not just for military but for civilians. You look
Yes.
at Oklahoma bombing. First thing they did is put up the flag.
Mm-hmm.
The Civil War. You see, the guys raising the flags always when you go into battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unifying, and we need to
Yeah.
go back to that.
our whole
not
street,
use it.
just about everyone has flags and colored lights. It's just it's neat. It really is a unifying, you know, feeling.
And we forget the flag. We look at the flag, we look at this country, we look at so much, and we look at the people involved. And we need to go back to thinking about, really it's the ground, it's the soil, it's everything that came before us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you think of when it comes to the government, it has nothing to do with that flag.
Yeah. It's the unity um of 50 independent states joining together as one country. And that's really cool. So, well, and especially as we go grow closer to you know uh, Independence Day coming up beginning of next month. um it's just, I think it's just a renewed excitement about the flag, um and about Americana. you know there's just so many neat things going on right now. um in the I remember 1976, the with um the cent would it be the centennial 100 year, yes, and 200 year, um and all the parades and all different things, it's and the fireworks we're having. um it's just one of those, time for celebration. And so, and it's I think it's just really getting people involved and making people realize, hey, we have something really wonderful here, so let's encourage it, um and work towards a unifying time. um so I have just a couple other things, but I'm not going to go into too many because I have, um let's see here, I'll save some of these for another week. um but just like I have a couple other trivia things I'll end up with. Um, and here's one question for everyone out there. Um, there's only one letter that doesn't appear in any U.S. state name. Can you guess which what letter does not show up in any U.S. state name? Well, it's not Z because Arizona has a Z. It's not J because
Q.
New Jersey. It is Q. Yep. Not a single letter state has a Q in its name. So let's see. Oh, here's one. German chocolate cake was invented in Texas. The German part of German chocolate cake comes from um, Samuel German. That was his last name. He in 1852 created a formula for sweet baking chocolate bar for Baker's Chocolate Company, um, which of course is still being sold. And so the Baker's Chocolate Company named its products Baker's German Sweet Chocolate. Um, And so let's see. Fast forward to June 13th, 1957, the Dallas Morning Star published a recipe for a cake invented and submitted by reader identified as Mrs. George Clay, which used the chocolate. Over the years, the recipe made its way around the country. People lost the original reference to the name and thought German chocolate cake came from the country of Germany, which is not true. German chocolate cake came from um, came from Texas. And so here's one near and dear to your heart, Mary. Um, the brand name Spam came from a contest winner. This is one of those interesting facts you probably thought you knew, but actually didn't. Contrary to American mythology, SPAM is not an acronym for scientifically processed animal matter or alien matter, as you call it, or it's not even shoulder pork and ham. In 1937, Hormel, the company that makes Spam, sponsored a naming contest for the new product. Kenneth, oh, I don't know if I could even pronounce it. Diagneau, a New York actor who is also the brother of a Hormel vice president, won $100 for coming up with Spam. Stories vary on whether he created the name as blending of spiced ham or if he conceived the name before the product was even created. Nevertheless, Hormel loved it, and the rest is history. So I know that the Spam factory, a plant, I should call it, is
It's
very
both.
in
We got
it
the
starts,
plant, we got the factory, and then we've got the museum.
yes, yes. So here it is. Some guy from New York came up with the name. So
And we
that
shut down every year the plant because we have a couple country stars that come through every year and order cases of it for the year
oh,
and does a big tour.
that's funny. Hmm. Well, I have definitely have had spam growing up, and my fry up like you would do ham, spiced ham. So here's the last one that I'll go over today because Toy Story 5 is coming out now. Toy Story 3 was on last night as I was flipping around the stations. And oh, I just remember crying at the end of Toy Story 3. I can't remember Toy Story 4, but here we're coming out with Toy Story 5. And now an employee at Pixar accidentally deleted almost all of Toy Story 2 during production. Um, the co-founder of Pixar wrote in his book Creativity Inc. that the year before the movie came out, someone entered the command bin rmrf on the drive where the files were saved, which immediately removed everything from the file system. Scenes started deleting, and 90% of the film was erased. Can you imagine the panic? Until they realized their backup system wasn't working correctly. It would have taken a year to recreate what was deleted, but luckily, another employee had a second backup of the entire film on her laptop at home. Which I wonder, was that, should she have had the backup on her home laptop of a movie that hasn't come out yet? But luckily she did because, you know, Toy Story 2 um, hit the theaters, and now we're up to Toy Story 5. Um,
Yes, we are excited for the new one. My
I
kids,
know I'm
we are,
looking forward to it. I love the Toy Story movies. They're just so clever, and
as
a
long
lot
as
of
they
the
keep,
toys. Hmm?
as long as they keep the original cast, which as long as
Yes,
Tim
yes,
Allen
as
and
yes,
all
as much
them do it.
right, right. The A lot of the toys are ones that I had in childhood. The Mr. Potato Head, um, the Slinky the dog. You know, um, the telephone. My brother had, my baby brother had the telephone. Just so many. It's just so clever. The toy soldiers, those green toy soldiers that were everywhere underfoot. Just so much fun. So we can look forward to that. Well,
Well,
it's
we went
9:30.
to Target and they actually brought back the old 60s and 70s toys like the old record player with the plastic records and the old fake telephones. All that's back
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
thanks to Toy Story.
A lot of them were Fisher Price toys, which was right here
Hmm.
in my dad's hometown of East Aurora. So it's just really fun. Um, and just as you're a child, kind of pretend that the dolls and things are talking, and here in the movie, hey, they are. So that's fun. Well, you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Go, get your American flag and fly it proudly, and enjoy the season. It's just another. Well, I said we're having another beautiful day. Um, other than the other than the rainstorm, torrential rainstorm that we're supposed to have today. Other than that, it's a beautiful day. But
Hey, the rain missed us,
oh, it hit
so
us.
it didn't come from me.
Okay. Well,
One thing we didn't cover was the etiquette of how to hang your flag. It
that's
goes
true.
federal, the national, or the federal flag, then the state flag, and then whatever flags go underneath there.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, the American flag should always been fly up high, at the top. So,
Mhm.
and so I have to we have a neighbor has a flagpole in his backyard, and he does have a light on it. Unfortunately, that light shines right into our back or bedroom window. So, well, what you gonna do?
We should be
So
re-aiming it up or down.
I know he doesn't. If he doesn't have it on all the time, but enough that you notice it. So, well, with that, I'm going to say have a wonderful day, and look forward to talking to everyone next Saturday. Next Saturday is the 20th. Let me see.
Father's Day.
Father's Day is, Sunday the 21st, and we have our day in the park at Casnovia Park, which is so much fun. And so we have from 1 till then fireworks at 10 p.m. Just a wonderful day. Beetle Magic is playing at 4 o'clock, so we have to be there for the Beetle tribute band. But it's just a fun day, so we have a bunch of people coming over to celebrate with us for our day in the park. It's just a neighborhood park that just does everything wonderfully. So with that, I'll let you go and have a wonderful, wonderful day, and keep flying the flag. Talk to you later. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.